He won the case. The jury believed him. The whole world watched. And yet, Hollywood still is not called. Think about that for a second. A man goes to court, presents his evidence, wins in front of a jury of his peers, and walks out with his reputation legally restored. In any normal world, that would be the comeback story of the decade. Studios would be lining up. Directors would be knocking. Agents would be flooding his phone. But that is not what happened. Johnny Depp won the trial. And Hollywood still turned its back. The question everyone keeps asking, and nobody is giving a straight answer to, is why? Why is a man who is legally vindicated still being treated like a liability? Why is an actor with over 40 years of blockbuster history still sitting on the outside looking in? And who exactly is making that decision? Because someone is. This does not happen by accident. Let's go back to where it all started. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. A marriage that looked like a Hollywood fairy tale from the outside and was apparently a war zone on the inside. When Amber Heard first published that op-ed in 2018, the industry moved fast. Disney dropped him from Pirates of the Caribbean almost immediately. Warner Brothers quietly removed him from Fantastic Beasts. No statement. No investigation. No due process. Just gone. And here is what is important to understand about that moment. Hollywood did not wait for facts. They did not wait for a trial. They did not wait for evidence. They saw a headline, calculated the risk to their brand, and cut him loose within weeks. That tells you everything about how this industry actually operates. Fast forward to 2022. The defamation trial begins. And for 6 weeks, the entire world watches. Evidence comes out that nobody expected. Audio recordings, text messages, medical records, witness testimonies. Things that completely changed the narrative that had been building for 4 years. The jury deliberated, and they ruled in Johnny Depp's favor on all 3 counts. He did not just win. He won convincingly. The internet exploded. Fans who had supported him for years felt vindicated. People who had written him off started quietly deleting their tweets. And for one brief moment, it genuinely felt like the comeback was coming. It never came. Warner Brothers did not call. Disney did not call. No major studio released a public statement of support. The offers that any A-list actor with his history should have been flooded with simply did not arrive. And the few projects that did move forward were mostly European productions, independent films, things that existed far outside the main Hollywood machine. So, what is actually happening here? The first thing you need to understand is that Hollywood does not run on justice. It runs on perception. And perception in this industry is controlled by a very small group of very powerful people. Studios, agencies, production companies, a handful of executives whose personal politics and professional relationships shape what gets made and who gets cast. These are not people who look at a jury verdict and immediately change their minds. These are people who spent 4 years distancing themselves from Johnny Depp, publicly or quietly, and reversing that position now means admitting they acted too fast in 2018. Nobody in Hollywood wants to admit that. The second thing is the Me Too movement. Now, understand the movement itself was necessary. It exposed genuine abuse that had been protected for decades. But it also created a culture in Hollywood where being associated with any accused person, regardless of outcome, carries career risk. Executives, directors, producers, they all watched what happened to people who defended the wrong names. And many of them decided that silence was safer than taking a side. Even after the verdict, that fear did not disappear overnight. The third thing, and this is the one people rarely talk about, is money. Johnny Depp is not easy to insure right now. Major productions rely on completion bonds and insurance packages that cover the cost if something goes wrong during filming. After years of legal battles, public controversy, and questions about his reliability on set, the people who write those policies see risk. And when insurance companies see risk, they charge more. Sometimes they refuse altogether. For a studio trying to greenlight a $200 million film, that single factor can kill a casting decision before it even reaches the director. So you have perception, you have politics, you have money, and you have an industry full of people who are still protecting the decision they made in 2018 because reversing it publicly would be embarrassing. But here is where it gets interesting. Johnny Depp has not been sitting around waiting for a call that was never coming. He released an album. He directed a film, Modi, a biographical drama about the painter Modigliani that premiered to genuine critical attention at the San Sebastian Film Festival. He has been painting, performing, touring with a band, living a life that looks nothing like the desperate comeback attempt people expected. And that might actually be the most powerful thing he has done. Because the narrative Hollywood wrote about him was that he was finished, broken, that the trial was his last grasp at relevance. And every day that he shows up creative, productive, and unbothered, that narrative gets harder to maintain. The fans never left. The numbers never lied. When the trial was streaming live, it was pulling millions of viewers daily. His social media following exploded during that period. The genuine public appetite for Johnny Depp content, Johnny Depp projects, Johnny Depp comebacks is enormous. The disconnect between what the public wants and what Hollywood is offering is growing wider every year. And at some point, that gap becomes too expensive to ignore. Because at the end of the day, Hollywood follows money. Always has. When the right project comes along, with the right director, with the right financial backing, and when the numbers on paper are undeniable, someone in a glass office somewhere is going to pick up the phone. Whether that happens this year, next year, or 5 years from now, nobody can say for certain. But the trial is over. The verdict is on record. And Johnny Depp is still here. Hollywood pretended that was supposed to be impossible. He made it look easy. Subscribe now. Because this is where the real stories live.